Hi, my name's Simon, and I'm a keynote speaker at PyCon US this year. I've been working with Python for over 20 years now, and one of my earliest uses of Python was back when I was a student at university, and I landed a paid internship at a local newspaper in Kansas with a guy called Adrian Holovaty. And we were using PHP to build websites for a newspaper, but we really wanted to use Python. And we found that none of the sort of web frameworks for Python at the time really felt like the way we wanted to be building software. So we built something which we thought was a content management system for a newspaper, which it turned out was a web framework. It's now called Django. It was open sourced about a year after I left that newspaper and is still in use today, which is super exciting. But yeah, really, that was my first major Python project, was piecing together bits and pieces to get web development working for this local newspaper in Kansas, so that we called it building like web development on journalism deadlines. We wanted to be able to turn things out really quickly to capture the news cycle, but still have that level of quality and sort of perfectionism that came to represent Django from the very start. The moment I fell in love with Python was the first time I realized you could fire up the Python interactive interpreter and start programming and doing things without having to save files and run them and so forth. You could use a list comprehension or load some data from a website and all just do that interactively. And I got completely hooked on that. And for years, I'd spend my whole time in the Python interactive prompt. It took me an embarrassingly long time to understand Jupyter notebooks and realize that, hey, I can do this stuff in my browser now. But that's been enormous for me. And all of the other programming languages that I've really enjoyed have been ones with a really great sort of a REPL experience. I do a lot of work in JavaScript because you can muck around in the browser dev tools and get the same benefit. But that for me was a really big thing. It's that idea of iterative programming where you can just try something out and instantly see if it works or not, and then keep on working on it. And eventually you copy and paste your code out into a text editor, but you've kind of already tested it by the time you get to the point where you're saving code for real. I really enjoy that. I've been following the field of large language models for a couple of years now, which in AI terms feels like a decade. And I've been doing a lot of work building tooling for running them on your own computer, building like features and functionality against them, and also just trying to get my head around what these things are, what they're good at, what they're bad at, and how we can use them responsibly, which is an extremely complicated area to get into. My specific interest is around journalism and data journalism. I build tools for journalists, and the idea of journalists using technology which blatantly lies to people all of the time is kind of interesting and challenging. So a lot of what I've been working on is figuring out, okay, given the flaws that this technology has, how can we still use it in responsible and productive ways? So I'll be talking a lot about that sort of general idea of responsible ways of using this, what this stuff is good for, and also talking about how we as the Python community can use our influence in this new space where most of this stuff is written in Python, and try and make sure that the end result of all of this comes out more positive than negative. So throw our collective weight towards making sure that this has as positive an impact on the world as possible. The thing I look forward to most at PyCon is it's catching up with the people who write the software that I use. Like, there's this thing where you will find the maintainers of packages you are using just wandering the hallways. And at first it can be quite intimidating to go and talk to them. But my experience is everyone wants to talk about the software that they're building. And if you've used their thing, the best thing you can possibly do is go up to someone and say, hey, I built this using your software. I guarantee you it will thrill people to hear how their software is being used like that. So yeah, for me, it's going to be all about the hallway track. I want to catch up with people who are building things that I've used, people who are building things that I want to use, and really take the advantage of the fact that so many people from the worldwide Python community are in the same place at the same time for just a couple of days. Everybody here wants to talk to you. If you're a complete newcomer to Python, if you're just getting started, your perspective is incredibly valuable, because people who've been doing Python for like 10 or 20 years, they've lost track of that sort of beginner's mindset. And that's the thing which really helps us build better libraries, build better documentation, build a better community. So your perspective is incredibly valuable. And you should assume that anyone who you think is interesting will find you interesting as well, and will want to hear from you and will want to talk to you. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you at PyCon US in Pittsburgh.